morning. Bob Schumann's here. Now, where can I put this? I can't put it right here. Some of the bottom end here, since that's the thing that tends to get distorted. Okay, now that you guys have chatted a little bit, I can pin this message. All right, so yeah, I survived the 2023 earthquake. We've gotten like 3 inches, not a big deal. No damage. I didn't even see a tree limb down. We've had far worse, far worse windstorms. And it's windier here than it was in Pasadena, generally. And we didn't have any winds really to speak of. I mean, maybe 10-mile-an-hour winds. That's not going to do any damage. We got 3 inches of rain, which is, not much. Yeah, 3 inches. We're supposed to, they're supposed to get another ½ inch, but I don't think so. I think the rain's done. It's going to get sunny and warm the rest of the week, so. But the hilarious thing was, I'm sitting on the sofa, just kind of chilling out, family's hanging around. I don't remember what I was watching. I was just kind of flipping around the channels and was watching the news for a minute, watching them talk about the hurricane or whatever. It wasn't a hurricane when it hit us. It was, I guess, a tropical storm. We have Santa Anas that kick our butts. The Santa Ana winds just can throw, shingles off the roof and knock trees over and everything. So, wow, you had that much. Well, I only had 3 inches here. I had 4 inches in March, so it was a lot worse in March. But no damage, no nothing. But I'm sitting on the sofa and I'm like feeling the sofa shake, and I'm like looking around. Is somebody, the cat jump up on it or something? And just keeps going, and I'm like, "Hey, babe, I think we're having an earthquake." And she's like, "What?" And then she looks in the dining room and sees the chandelier kind of moving a little bit. And my first inclination always when we have an earthquake is to go look at the pool. And I have a video somewhere. Did I? Let's see if I can find that. Because we had an earthquake the day after July 4th in 2019 when we first moved into the house. Let's see if I have that. Not that I. All right, let's go back here. Go to videos. Yeah, nothing there. I don't know. It's somewhere. I gotta find it. But the the pool was kind of sloshing a little bit. Water was going outside the pool. But I remember we had a big earthquake. I think it was the Northridge quake, and I went out to look at the pool in the building, and it was doing this. The water was like a wall of water, back over a wall of water, like that. It was like, whoa. And that was before I had a camera, maybe I had a video camera, but by the time I got the video camera out, it would have been over. So, yeah, exactly. Turn over, yeah. The reverb tanks would definitely make noises if there's an earthquake. That's true. That's 100% true. Well, I mean, Brad, you're just like a half a mile from me, I think, maybe a little bit more than that, but I could see where you're up in the hills more, so you're going to get more rain. But on the app here, and I don't have a gauge out. I didn't put a gauge out there. I know my pool is full. So I'm going to have to empty water out of the pool because it's not good for it to be over full. I'll probably go swimming later today, so I'm just going to probably knock water out when I go swimming, but it won't be enough. We're going to keep talking about pentatonic scales because I'm having fun, and we're going to probably do a. I should have worn just like a black T-shirt, and then I could just make this look like a T-shirt design. Like, man, you had a T-shirt made already? Thanks, Bruce. Let's see. Oh, John, he's still figuring out how to do Greek letters. Yep. Yeah, I'm not sure how you would do that. Maybe put it in translator and then copy and paste from translator. But yeah, so it was kind of a nothing burger. I kind of knew it would be when I was looking at the projections and everything. Although we are probably going to get more hurricanes in the Pacific because of that Tonga, the Hunga Tonga, whatever it is, volcano, underwater volcano that was ginormous. That heated up the ocean and created a nice layer up there in the upper atmosphere of moisture, and so apparently that's if the Pacific in our neck of the Pacific is generally runs cool. I mean, you go to the beach, Brad, you know this better than me. It's typically 65 degrees in there. I mean, it's pretty dang cold. I mean, I imagine it gets up to 70 maybe at the peak of the summer, but it's all based on, so the Gulf of Mexico, though, I've been in the Gulf of Mexico. It's like 90 degrees. So, and I think it's even running 100 right now. I mean, that's just prime for creating hurricanes and giving it fuel and everything. So, I mean, I don't know of any hurricane that's ever hit Los Angeles, like Santa Monica, like the beach. We get some big waves. I know Brad's got a place down in Malibu, and I'm sure I don't know how long you've owned that, but I remember there was definitely some big waves that came in and did a lot of damage from storms. But Jim, good afternoon from Vermont. Yeah, I hear. Oh, cool. Yeah, we're gonna be back in the 90s this week, so the cool is only for a couple days. Um, but the what? Oh, is that what it is right now? 68. I have 63. That's weird. You're 5 degrees warmer there, if that's what you're referring to. Um, so, all right, I'm going to move this out. And what I want to do is, I want to let's just do some exercises. Let's take pentatonic number 2, which is the one that's kind of right here. Okay, you see that? Here's 1. Here's 2. I may have an isolation of it somewhere. Let me see if I do. Oh, no, I don't want to do that. I want to go to just desktop. You're not going to give me renderings? That's weird. All right, let's see if I got any of these named. Bum, bum, bum. I'm not seeing. Oh, yeah. All right. I'm not seeing anything that I can use here. Boy, we've done a lot of stuff, though. Got a lot of files here. Oh, and this is the... Wow, what are we on? Lesson what? 315. That's crazy. Yeah, go ahead and hit that. Punch that like button if you can. Hey, Pepper, what's going on? Good to see you. Nice. Yeah, 100 degrees in Kentucky is serious business because of the humidity. We had 100, all the time. Okay, so here's here's a little tip. Okay, you guys, go to your state, go to Google, enter the state you've lived in the most, or the state that you used to live in, and enter the word unclaimed, and then go to the state site. Don't go to any other third-party site. Just go to the state site and look up your name, and your address should be there, and see if you have any money coming. Because I found a bunch of money for my mom, and I found a bunch of money for my stepfather, and I found money for friends. I just started Googling or doing that with all my friends, like in California, just going, oh my, anybody had a weird name. If it's John Smith, it's not going to work because it's going to take forever. But if it's a kind of an interesting name, oh, I'm glad you're going to kind of cool down a little bit there. In Texas. Texas is brutal. Definitely brutal. I mean, the nice thing about being here, and Brad knows this, if you're dying of the heat, you just go to the beach and it feels much better. So, I mean, I drive out and then hang out at the beach and then I come home. So, okay. So that pentatonic number 2 is what I call it. Don't think that that's an official designation or anything like that. But I call the main pentatonic that everybody learns, that first one, pentatonic number 1. The one that's next to it, and it's based on around this E form, the E form caged bar chord, right? So here I am. Here's E, F sharp, G sharp, A, B flat, B, C. All right. So there's C, and if you play that bar chord, right? That's 50% of the notes in the pentatonic scale, because on a pentatonic scale we only have 2 notes per string. Okay, so let's play this together. It's put your second finger on the bottom string at the 8th fret, and then pinky plays the 10th fret. A little awkward, that pinky's got to reach out there, pretty high up there. Okay, and then the next one is going to be the 7th fret and the 10th fret. So first finger and fourth finger. Play that little snippet there. You might hear a song in there. Okay, and then the next one is also 7/10. And you know, if you're wanting to work on your speed, it's always good to take a little snippet like that, a little chunk of the scale, and work that up as fast as you can. Once you have that down pretty fast, then add a string. You start out slow. And then speed it up, just like that. Simple as that. See? It's easy. Sorry. I'm a jerk. I know it. I'm a jerk. Yeah, essentially, you could call it A minor position 2 is probably what most guitar teachers would call it. I just call it pentatonic number 2, shape number 2. And then so we're at 8, 10, 7, 10, 7, 10. Then we're at 7, 9, which is nice. Now we don't have the pinky involved. It's the first one we don't have the pinky involved. And what you can do is you can practice any of these chunks, okay? So, because melodically, solo-wise, I mean, it's good to have this down maybe, but it's more of a, like in the rhythm range. It's more like it's more of a riff than it is a lead kind of thing. Most lead stuff's going to happen higher up melodically on the fretboard, maybe top 4 strings kind of thing. You know, there's a lot of good solos that go low. I'm not saying you can't. I'm just saying that you could also take the chunk that's here. So the 7 on the 4th string and the 3rd string, you go 7, 10, 7, 9. And then you could go down and add the next. Okay, and then the next chunk is, so you're 7, 9, now you go to 8, 10. Okay, now here's one where you could totally move your hand like this. You could do a shift. Now that might happen better if you're going just up the scale like this. So you're just, okay. If you're going to practice that chunk, like those 4 notes, like that, I would go ahead and use all 4 fingers. It's a great little exercise. You couldn't invent a better 4-finger exercise. Now, I can play those same 4 notes down here in pentatonic number 5. A lot easier with just 2 fingers, your index and your ring finger. See that? So I'm at the 3rd fret, top 2 strings, 3, 5, 3, 5. Notice those are the same pitches as up here at 7, 9, 8, 10. So if you're in the middle of a solo and you really hear that melodic idea, you could play it here. You could also play it at the 12th fret, which is probably where I would jump it to if I was like. I might do something like that for many reasons. One, I just like it's comfortable. The other thing is it's easy to bend that string. It's really easy to bend at the 12th fret. At the 12th fret, you're going to have the least resistance from the nut and from the bridge. It's the exact halfway point between those 2 points. So you can bend a lot. Whereas if the further down here you get, and even up here a little bit, you can start to feel more tension. But down here, you definitely feel tension. That makes sense. Hey, Richard, what's going on? Good to see you. Richard Abdul. Lord of the Rings. Oh, may it be. Um, so we're continuing on pentatonic. So we finish out pentatonic number 2, or what did you call it? Yeah, form 2 or whatever, shape 2. We finish it off with 8-10-8-10. That reminds me of a Yes song. I'm sure it was in some kind of weird like 11-8 or something, but so again, I can't think of a reason or a time where I would play the full scale as part of a solo. Like, that's not a solo. That's an exercise. That's a scale. That doesn't say anything musically. Now, I will show you this. On this particular pentatonic, it's used a lot, but generally what I find is, pentatonic number 1 is right here, okay? So, we're really happy to be in pentatonic number 1. But if we want to go a little lower than pentatonic number 1, then we go down here and we play like maybe the bottom 2 strings of pentatonic number 5, which you can see right up here. Okay, there's 5. And see that 3rd fret and then the R, which stands for root. These are all A notes in this scenario. It's the same as those. So that's the box thing, right? So when you're playing the boxes, that box, same box right here, 2 frets up, 3 frets up, you get the same box. What you're doing is you're playing the bottom of pentatonic number 5, the middle of pentatonic number 1, and the top of pentatonic number 2. And the top of pentatonic number 2 is a very common place for a lot of guitar players to play because it extends the best pentatonic, which is number 1. That's why it's number 1. It's the best. But one of the reasons it's number 1 is, for one thing, it's half of the notes are played with the index finger, which makes it really easy. The other thing is you'll notice that it has 3 R's in it. That means you have 3 roots, which means you have 3 landing spots. Three. Where's Holly? Dag nabbit, where's Holly? Oh, and Sam, you did the exercise, right? Wait, let me pull this up here. Let me see if I can find this. Discord, where are you? Discord. There you are. Hopefully it won't make noise. Okay. General, you put it in general. Let's see. There we go. Let me see. I'll have to read this. I'll have to check this out later. Chromatic scale. I don't even remember. Is this what I asked you? I forget what I asked you to do. I know. I know what I asked you to do. Oh yeah, E flat chromatic scale. You mean pentatonic scale? You wrote chromatic and you meant pentatonic. Did you see that, Sam? I think you meant pentatonic, not chromatic. And what I was asking. So, and what chord did we say you were going to go over? If I play A flat third 4, 5 flat 7, that's right. But essentially, yeah. So the idea here, B flat chromatic. I'll have to look at this and see how you were thinking of this. So my thought, Sam, was my thought was basically A minor pentatonic, which is this one. What are the relationships of those notes to the A? Let me get a clean sound up, or a cleaner sound up. because now I'm getting into the jazz realm. Okay, so over an A7 chord, what are the relationships of these notes to that A7 chord? Okay. So what you did kind of the inverse. You took A7 and then you went to B flat 7 and then and you kept the scale the same, which is another way to do it. So you weren't necessarily wrong. But what I was thinking was, if you have an A7 chord and you play B flat minor pentatonic, what are the values of those notes? What are they? Well, this one is the flat 9. This is the 3rd. This is the flat 5, the sharp 5, and the major 7th. So if you hear like an A7 chord, it actually kind of works because you've got the major 7th is a little weird because you got a dominant 7th, but that flat 9 is always good over an 8. It's always going to sound sexy. So we're just trying to, okay, I'm going to call this lesson Sexy Guitar. But I'm going to keep my clothes on because that would be contrary to that note. But that major 7's kind of weird, but the flat 9, then this is the 3rd, which of course is going to work. And then the flat 5, sharp 5, major 7th again. And the idea is, okay, well then, so then this scale, even though it's a half step away from what you might normally play, even though it's a half step away from the scale you might naturally play, it kind of works in its weird little way. And then we do pentatonic number, then we do B minor pentatonic. Yeah, it's all right, Sam. If we were sitting face to face, we would have figured it out. It's so hard in this kind of, it's very one-directional, and I apologize. One Direction. Sounds like a good band name. Okay, so so A7 again. So now I have B minor. B minor. So that's the 9th. That's the 4th. That's the 5th. That's the 6th, and then the root. So yeah, that all could work, and I might, as you go up the fretboard, instead of you find the scale that's in the neighborhood of this chord, so you can kind of hear the two things. So like if I were to play, instead of pentatonic number 1 in B minor, I play pentatonic number 5 in B minor. So I got, it's cool. You can find little little phrases in that pentatonic that lead you into that can lead you nice into the little A7 chord. The A7 chord I'm playing is open A, and then I'm barring the top 4 strings at the 5th fret, like this. That would be A minor 7, but I'm adding the 3rd there. There's a C sharp there. So this is a simple A7. And I can easily add the flat 9 or sharp 5 or both, or the sharp 5 and the sharp 9. Make it extra jazzy. Okay. What about C minor pentatonic? So we got the flat 3rd, we got the flat 5, we got the sharp 5, we got the 7th, and we got the flat 9. I mean, I'm sorry, this one's C minor pentatonic is gold over this. Yeah. And the whole point, the whole reason I'm sharing this information with you, and it's pretty darn advanced stuff, but it's just to show you that if you even just learn how to, if you just you can shed or shred pentatonic number 1, you can create all these really interesting harmonic alterations over a dominant chord like A7 just by moving that scale around. And you'd be surprised what, like, oh wow, that actually kind of sounds cool, even though it's completely wrong. You know, I have a saying in jazz: if you play the wrong note, hit it again. They'll think you did it on purpose. So, jazz gets disparaged. Yeah. So you know, Sam, the basic chord in a standard jazz progression that you can have the most fun with, because you can't do this to a major seventh chord, because major seventh chords tend to be the chord you land on. But the dominant seventh chord, the 5 chord, which is the 5 chord in any major key, is the chord that creates tension, because built into this chord is the devil's tone, that tritone right there. The 3rd to the 7th, or the 7th to the 3rd, is a tritone. So that creates tension that wants to be resolved. See that 3rd wants to go to D, the 3rd wants to go to the root, and that 7th wants to go down to the 3rd. Like that. So, but that 5 chord, whenever the 5 chord shows up, you can have a lot of fun over that, and you can really go outside. So in some ways, if you're playing over like a 2-5-1 in the key of D, you're going to probably play a little inside on the E minor chord. And then you can go really outside on the 5 chord. So it's like, you know, that I don't like that major. So you get this. Let's see. Oops, sorry. Here's the E. Then we go to the A. The D chord. So the whole point is to see, okay, how do these scales, and some of the scales are not really going to work at all, but the one you think that would work the least, actually, which is a half step away from the A minor pentatonic, actually works really cool. So that was the lesson. You actually did it. I think I'd have to, you reversed engineered it. Yeah, you could use Richard, you could totally use A7 major. I got this 10-minute long jam here. Let me see, what's this chord? Yeah, so that's A7 there. So if I just go to 1 bar, in some ways, Richard, the A major pentatonic would be almost the least offensive, almost the most inside for that A7. The thing is, you don't have a 7th in there, so if you play an A major pentatonic, it's so happy, right? Oops, sorry. You got the root, you got the 9th, you got the 3rd, you got the 5th, you got the 6th, and you could change that to a dominant, and that might make it even more in the pocket. Pat Metheny might do something like that, where he does the hammer-ons, the double stops. Okay, I don't know if you can hear this. But if I play A minor pentatonic over it, it goes bluesy, right? So I just took this A major pentatonic here on the 2nd fret and went up to the 5th fret. Now it's minor, kind of a minor pentatonic. I don't know, BB box. I don't know what is that. Oh, the BB King box. Yeah. Yeah, I like the sound of that one. I go to that one naturally anyway. Well, here's the thing: you can, because a lot of players, when they go to the 5 chord, they would, BB King would do this too, I think. They would flatten the C down to a B. So it's great. You know, you can experiment with this. So check this out. You can take your A minor pentatonic. I'm just talking pentatonic, so we're just kind of having fun. So you can lower any of these notes and see how it works. So I can take all the C's and lower them to B's. Oops. And I end up with pentatonic number 3 in B and E minor. But it works really great. And keep in mind, it's basically an E minor pentatonic. Works great over the E chord. That's why you hear a lot of players do that. And so you talk about the top 2 strings. Normally your A minor, play this with me, 5, 8, 5, 8. If we lower this top note, okay, we lower the top note 1 fret. There, it's almost easier because we don't have to use our pinky. We got our 3rd finger there. Now you're playing an E minor pentatonic by changing 1 note. And that works really good over the 5 chord in the key of key of A, okay? Now what Richard was talking about is the BB Kings, and what BB would do, particularly over the 4, but he would use it over the 1 as well. So basically we're talking about 10 of the 12 bars of a 12-bar blues is going to be either the 1 chord or the 4 chord. And so this little, if you lower the 7th down to there, so you, instead of playing, 5, 8, 5, 8, you play 5, 7, 5, 8. We talked about this before. Back when we talked about blues, we did it with the open E. And over the A chord, it works great. So when you do that, when you take that, in this case, a G, go down to F sharp, you create, that's a 6. It's like, you're playing that note. I call it, it's like a happy blues, right? Doesn't sound as good, right? That's kind of a happy sound. And then you get that C natural, and then you get the blues in there. You get that. And I'm kind of bending the C note. I'm not going all the way to C sharp, okay? I told you this story before about George Martin and the Beatles when they were doing Twist and Shout, and John Lennon was singing, you know, what was it? So when he went to say, twist and shout, George Martin was like, are you singing an F there or an F sharp? And John's like, I don't know. and George is like, well, no, it needs to be an F sharp. So sing an F, because it's a D chord. It should be, sing that. Twist and shout, yeah, shout, right? So John sings F sharp. And it's like, no, that's not right. That's okay. Okay, so maybe you're doing a blues thing. So sing the F natural. So here's the F natural. Twist and shout. And that didn't work. And George Martin, that was when George Martin realized there were notes in between notes. He didn't really think about it like that before. Because when you're an orchestra guy, you know, it's like string players. No, you got to, even though you're fretless, you still got to be on that right note. So you got to find that thing. And so that's kind of what if you just put your first finger on that 5th fret of the 3rd string, that's our over the A chord, that's our flat 3. See, that's the 3, C sharp. That's what's in the chord. What you're doing is you're playing something that rubs and creates an emotion and creates tension. And you create a little bit more tension when you kind of bend that C up, but don't get to the C sharp. You get to this kind of, see, there's a C and a C sharp. you're still not there. And so the way I'm doing that generally is I'm pulling down. Okay, usually you think, but when I'm bending that note, I'm gonna, you know, if I'm bending the third string, if I'm bending that for this chord with my first finger, I'm gonna pull it towards the ground. And I'm even using kind of a fulcrum thing here. I'm actually putting the side of my finger here on the neck like that, and then using it as a fulcrum. You can even make it very dramatic from the audience perspective by putting, like, doing, hey, hang, you know, hang 10 kind of thing going. Because it is all about entertaining with your notes you choose, but also with the color of your guitar, which I'm not a big guy. This is like the only weird colored guitar I actually own, I think. Yeah, I'm not into that. Never been into having green guitars or purple guitars or anything like that. I don't want to stand out necessarily. So, but over an A7 chord. Okay. Now that principle, okay, and Richard, if you're still here, so we took that note down a fret and came up with an E minor pentatonic that works right over the E chord. We did the same thing with the seventh. We took the seventh down a half step and got the sixth. Weird color of guitar, like purple, or, you know, in other words, not white, black, or sunburst or wood colored. Like, I don't, you know, I've got a couple red guitars, but they're going to be Squires. They're not going to be. So in the Squire realm, I'm not even looking at the color guitar. But if I'm going to spend a couple grand on a guitar, I'm not getting a purple guitar. I'm sorry. It's not going to happen. Green guitar. Weird. So it sounds like. It's you know, it's right there. That's the point. It's like, I know this scale very well. Oh, I only have to change one note? Well, then I kind of know that scale pretty well too. Well, okay, go back to my scale that I know really well. Change one note. Still feels pretty much like the original scale. Same with it. This one's kind of weird. Weird sounding and weird feeling. But that's kind of a cool sound. It's very... Now, you're basically playing a blues scale, but with a fifth removed. So a blues scale. But if I take that fifth away, it sounds like this. So it's got kind of an ominous sound to it, but it's still legit, okay? If I take the fourth down, all right, that's kind of cool, because what we get from that note right there, okay, the seventh fret of the third string, as we play the pentatonic. If I take that down, I get the third. I get the C sharp, but I also have the C. So what does that sound like? It's weird as a scale. It's weird as a scale, but you do it all the time when you use to take that C to C sharp is a very common thing to do over the dominant chord in an A chord, right? So that's the scale. It just sounded weirder when I did it in, like, what is it? It sounds weird when I play it all in one fell swoop, but if I just... But I really wouldn't think of it as, I wouldn't think of that as a minor pentatonic with a flatted fourth. No, I would just think of, oh, I'm going to the third. Because a lot of times I'm going to keep the fourth in there. So I might do something like this. Do that with me. So third finger on the 7th fret of the 3rd string. Okay, then go to the first finger on the 5th fret. You can hammer on that 2nd finger on the 6th fret. And then go up to the 1st string, 5th fret, and get your A, which is your root. Okay? So that's how I would generally arrive at the C sharp in this scenario. The major third, I would probably go from the 3rd up to it. In fact, if you take the 3rd and raise it, so we've been lowering notes, but if we raise notes, then we get what I call a mixolydian pentatonic, which I use all the time, and I love the sound of it. So basically, I'm going to take this scale, and I'm going to raise all the thirds. So the thirds are the C notes. So here's a C, here's a C, and here's a C. It's going to sound like this. And to me, that sounds like Jeff Beck. He would do stuff like this all the time. That 4-3 relationship sounds so good. Richard, I'm not on True Fire because this is not what I do for a living. That would be, I mean, I'd be happy to do some videos for them if they wanted to, but I don't know. I don't know how much I would make from it, to be honest. But I'm working all this week. I'm working on movies and shows and records and video games, a lot of video game stuff. So worked on Call of Duty last week. So yeah, so it's kind of, this is just for fun. If I start to do stuff for True Fire, I'll probably have to like actually work. So, but thank you. That's a high compliment. I know that. All right. Yeah. So everything I'm talking about, even though it looks, oh man, it's so complex, is really what I'm ultimately doing is saying a little bit of information can yield a lot more information. I would just say, yeah, I generally, Sam's asking if I would consider my line of work session guitarist. Yes, but if I eliminated all other income from my annual income and only had session income, well, if I were doing only sessions, I probably would have more of them. I guess. I don't know. My career, my line of work as it is kind of spread out over several things. And probably my biggest source of revenue is residual income, royalties from music I've written. And you're like, whoa, money while you sleep, which is what we call it sometimes. We call it mailbox money. But it's not money while asleep. It took me decades to develop that. And my first checks were like $30. So, you know, you're not going to live on $30. But as you build it and as you have more and more music playing on streaming, I mean, a new streaming source for stuff I work on is Discovery Plus. And it's really cool because the last 2 quarters I've gotten decent amounts from Discovery Plus, which is a streaming service. And the reason is because I had so much music on Discovery shows from way back, and those shows were never, ever going to air again on Discovery because they only have 24 hours a day to air shows, and they have a ton of shows. So, but now people can go back and watch these shows that I have music on that I knew that music wasn't going to make me any money ever again, and now it is again, which is nice. So that's kind of how it works. Hey, Scotland! I was just in Scotland. Oh, appreciate that, Steve. Um, so yeah, so residual income sessions. The only live work I generally do is playing at church, and it is a paid position. Um, and then, but that's, I often don't get paid. I, often donate my time. So, um, as a tithe, as they call it in the church vernacular. And then, is Holly okay, by the way? I forget. I haven't heard from Holly. She wasn't here last week either. So I think she probably is on vacation, or maybe she's dealing with hurricane stuff right now, because she's kind of up in the mountains. She's a mountain woman. And so along with those residual, so I say I'm a multi-instrumentalist, composer, songwriter. But the composer-songwriter thing is kind of, when people think composer, they think John Williams. Well, I'm really writing music for reality shows. I'm not writing music to picture. Oh, we were in Edinburgh, and then we went out to North Berwick for a day, but basically we were just in Edinburgh the whole time. I think if we go back, I'll get a car and we'll drive around. But we just rented an apartment in Newtown and loved it. Had a great little neighborhood and had a great local bar, a little pub that we went to a lot, and coffee shop right across the street. I mean, I could throw my guitar pick and hit that coffee shop. It was so awesome. I could drop my guitar pick and hit the bar. We loved it. I mean, I love Europe, and would try to get there once a year at least for vacation. It's just a haul. If I lived on the East Coast, I would be in Europe 4 times a year, because it's like a 5-hour flight to London or something. So 6 hours maybe. So yeah, that's. Oh, well, Dennis, you're really close. You have 0 excuses. I was kind of surprised how cheap the food was. Our apartment wasn't bad. I think it was, I don't know, $1,600 for 10 nights or something. It was a nice apartment. It was a 1-bedroom, but that's all we needed. We weren't there very much. The weather was, we never got rained once. I bought rain, boots for, like really nice hiking boots, waterproof hiking boots, and a raincoat. And the first time I wore that raincoat was last night, because we had the hurricane yesterday. Yeah, so we had a hurricane and an earthquake at the same time yesterday. That was really fun. So the earthquake was, I guess it was 5.1 in Ojai, which is about 50 miles from me. So, and it was the big quake of they still getting aftershocks, but the big quake was 9 miles underground. So it was pretty subdued. It was just like what is going on? Like, hey, baby, I think we're having an earthquake. Okay. Oh, we're buffering. Okay, hopefully not. Yeah, 5.1's not bad if you're right underneath it. I mean, if there's an earthquake, if there's a 2.0 right under me, I'm going to feel it, but it's not going to make the news. You'll be like, whoa, what was? Oh, we had an earthquake, and it was like, turn on the news and they don't talk about it. And then I pull up the earthquake app, and it's like, oh, it was literally in Granada Hills. So it's not gonna be a thing. So, yeah, we do have several people from Scotland here. So my whole point about talking about like making minor adjustments to a scale is to take something and turn it into something different simply. All right? That was my whole point with the exercise with Sam. Let's play. I mean, because I can just fart around with pentatonic scales like that, moving them. that same scale, moving it up and down the fretboard. It sounds like something, you know. There's moments where it's like, wait, that kind of worked, you know. Like G minor pentatonic, really cool over the A7 chord, because we have the 7th, which is great, right? We have that flat 9, we have the flat 3rd, we have the 4th, which is not bad. The flat 3rd's great though, and then we have this F natural, which is like an augmented or a sharp 5. So let's hear that. So here's something I might do. That major pentatonic that Michael mentioned, the A major pentatonic is right here. Okay, and we know that works super inside. Very happy sounding, right? But if I go up 1 fret and play G minor pentatonic, it's like, woo, what the heck? And then I can slide right down. So do that with me. Go like this. Go. We're doing pentatonic number 1 shape, so it should be a familiar shape to you. On the 4th string, 3, 5, 3, 5, 3, 6. Okay? Now, without knowing it, you just played a sharp 5, a dominant 7th, a flat 9, a sharp 9, a 4th, and again with the sharp 5. So you played a lot of, you know, kind of really altery kind of sounding chords over this by playing this little snippet. But once you're on this note here, so we're 3, 5, 3, 5, 3, 6, slide that down a fret, and then descend the same way you went up. It sounds so exotic and so jazzy and everything, but it's 100% built on the scale you know best. Let me see. Hold on a second. Nope. Let me put some drums in here. Wait, what? Oh, okay, never mind. Let me do this. Okay. Just so I have a rhythm in there. You can do it the other way too. Let's see, just go up the A major, you know, you could say F sharp minor pentatonic, but that's the same as A major pentatonic. No quiz on that, don't worry. Slide up to the G minor pentatonic, and then back down to the A. It sounds like you're a genius. Even sounds better slow, in my opinion. You could, yeah, everybody take a sip. When I say there's no quiz, that's a drinking game violation. All right, but yeah, if I swing it like, I said, it's kind of a cheater way to do things, but it's not really, you know, and I might make one adjustment. Like I might change one note in that G minor pentatonic to maybe make it, I might get rid of that 4. What would I do though? So I could do something like that. Something like that. I might make some adjustment to it, so it's not just purely sliding down a minor pentatonic, and you can get rid of the note, the one, because oftentimes when we talked about this, oftentimes when you're just moving these pentatonic around, there's one note that's a little squirrely. Like when I move the A minor pentatonic up a fret, is like that. If I did the BB King one, it would work much better. I can even do the BB King. That's really cool to take the BB King scale up a fret. That works really well. So I'm gonna have to remember this stuff. You know, I don't really play jazz so much anymore. I'm gonna put this down for a second. Don't worry, I'm not gonna stop. We're not gonna stop the lesson. I mean, it has been an hour, but we'll keep going because I can talk about this crap for months nonstop. Yeah, sorry, Bruce. Yeah, if you want to take more drinks, let's see what are the rules? Dang it, our Moses is not here. Drinking game. Let's see. Is it alphabetical? Do I have it up here? No, it's up in Discord somewhere. Touch my face. You're right. That was the COVID. All right. So if I touch my face, that's a drinking game violation. Because we weren't supposed to touch our face. Again, I think COVID was invented by church ladies. They were like, you know, don't cough in public, don't sneeze in public, don't touch your face. What was all the things, you know, wash your hands. You know, it was all these things that like your grandmother was always telling you to do or something. You know, it was like, what was it? You know, don't pick your nose, don't fart in public. You know, like farting caused COVID. I'm like, what? Or farting spread COVID. I'm like, well, you know, I actually, my cousin is a flight attendant or was a flight attendant. Now she does private stuff and charters and stuff, private jets. But she was a flight attendant for years, and she said one of the things they would do is they would crop dust. Like if there was a really bad like customer on the plane, you know, someone being a jerk, they would crop dust them, which basically means they would walk by and fart. I'm like, no, you didn't do that. I tend to believe her though. Gates doesn't look like a granny, yeah, right? He kind of does. You put a wig on him. Oh, he does look like that's what. Yeah. Yeah, it was just funny because it's like, yeah, touching the face was the first rule. That's right. That was the very first rule. Changing guitars was another rule. Mentioning that I play all the guitars on Apex Legends. Of course, I don't know if that's true anymore because Steven, the composer that I work for on those, you know, has other composers working on it too, and some of those other composers play guitar now. So I've had files sent to me that had guitars on them. Say, hey, can you add some guitars? And I'm like, oh, they already have guitars. I'll do my thing, and you know, if you want me to replace those guitars, I can do that too. But it just depends. Sometimes I did, but yeah. So I think I can't say that anymore, not legitimately. But I do play guitar for Apex Legends, among other things. What's this? Oh, okay. So yeah, I've got to find out. Oh, David's here. Yeah, as far as conspiracy theories go, yeah, that one's pretty far out. Yeah, that one's yeah, that one's pretty out there. But I don't know. I think that's about as legit as some of them I've heard. So, but the yeah. So changing guitars. What was some of the others? Dropping my pick. If I drop my pick, which I haven't done in a while. Um, I don't know. So let's see what else is going on. Make sure. Oh yeah, I do. I do have pants on. Yeah, I think if I have my seat lower, you might not be able to tell. Like Dan Rather or something. If I had a desk that was here. Dan Rather's head is very big. Most like big newscasters like that, their heads are really big compared to their body. I've met a couple of these guys, and I'm like, "Whoa, you've got a big head." Well, I didn't say that, but my face did when I went. I have a normal head, unless Catherine's on. Then I have a really big head because I do this. Oh no, that was a mistake. Okay, there we go. See, I think I learned. I roll back and it refocuses. But Catherine tends to watch me on a giant, like 85-inch TV. So I'm like, I want to look around her house, you know. So the kind of what I'm talking about with the Pentatonics, and I've got that jam track up there still. Don't forget that this one here. It's fun to play over. 80 beats per minute, not too fast. I could speed it up if people wanted to have a faster one. If I just go like this, go 100. And it sounds like this. But I like 80. 80 is kind of a swingy thing. Tom got a question. How do you decide how or when to slide up or down from one pentatonic to another? Oh, oh, you'll have me on a new TV. Oh, nice, nice. Oftentimes, John, it's a lot of times it's because I want to go up to a higher note or go down to a lower note. Let me just do this. So we talked about this at the very, very beginning, the first lessons. We talked about the caged method. And the caged method is just a method of visualizing, a way to visualize your fretboard using the 5 main open chords. C, A, G, E, and D. And it's said, the reason it's caged is because those shapes occur in that exact order as you go up the neck. Here's the C shape, here's the A shape, that's the next C chord. The next C chord is the G shape, the next C chord is the E shape, and the next C chord is the D shape, okay? And with those chord shapes, okay, in the key, C for example, there are scales that wrap around it. Like so, for example, the C major pentatonic that's here is number 5. So hang with me for a second, John, if you can. Okay, and then this shape here, the G shape, there's the major pentatonic here. Right? So each of these shapes have a major pentatonic around them. They also have a minor pentatonic around them. So for example, if I'm playing this E form up here, this is a C chord, but it's using the E shape. That pentatonic number 1 is the E, C minor form over that. Right? Well, I have a million licks in that shape, you know, because we play in it so much that the pentatonic number 1. Now, I might want to go, like, for example, Stevie Ray Vaughan would go up to that pentatonic 2 all the time because he liked the feel of it. Right? So there's different licks in each of the scale shape that really work really well. Like, for example, if I keep going, the pentatonic number, what I call number 4, has this, like, whichever. I could do there. I would do it, but I love it up here. And that's based on this scale right here. Okay? I'm taking that second string note and I'm actually resolving it, taking it from the E flat to the C natural, or in the key of A. If we go back to the key of A. I mean, because this is... So a lot of times it's pitch. It's a lot of times it's like there's certain licks that I really like in there that that don't feel natural in other shapes. So if I'm hearing something musically I want to do, but it doesn't really work well over that shape, I'll go to the next shape and that kind of thing. It's kind of intuitive. It's kind of just in some ways trying to mix it up. You know, and I've told you to do this before. You know, you could take this jam, right? A minor jam, and you could spend a week just playing pentatonic number 1 at the 5th fret. Skipping strings if you can. Okay, then spend the next week only playing in pentatonic number 2. And what will happen is a lot of things will be revealed to you, like, oh, I like that, you know. You can't do that in pentatonic number 1. Totally different sound. Yeah, I'm answering John's question from above. So you spend a whole week with this jam track. Let me give you the link. Spend a week with that jam track just playing that pentatonic scale, right? You know, play pentatonic number 2. Then do number 3. And number 3 is kind of the least, you know, is the least friendly, you know, everybody's least favorite pentatonic scale. Well, in some ways, then spend 2 weeks on it. Gosh darn it. Because, get shareable link, there we go. Because it'll be, so there's that jam track if you don't have it. You know, if you spend a couple weeks on this one, then you'll really get good at it. You might find yourself gravitating towards it. Also, there's the lick like that right there in pentatonic number 1 is here. It's there. It's a weird shift thing, but like that lick, it's hard here because you got this stretch between the 3rd and 2nd finger pushing up that G note to the A, and then trying to get that A. Here it's a lot easier. So play this, go, and you're fighting the nut. But again, 12th fret is the squishiest fret. You almost tend to overbend it. But I love that. You know, once you get used to each of the individual pentatonic scales, you'll find licks that are almost unique to the scale or work best in that scale. And also the timbre, you don't notice it with a lot of gain. But if I go to a sound that has less gain, it's a lot woodier to play that. It's a little bright here. But if you want it to be kind of darker and more mysterious, you play it on the down here, and it's both the strings are wound strings. Excuse me. So it's going to be a little bit a different timbre. So that's another reason to change positions. Okay, question of the class. Please help me understand the numbering system of these scales. Yeah, basically the scale is you take the root and you call it 1, and then if it's a major scale, it's just going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Because major scale is going to be your kind of gold standard, let's say. So in the key of C, that would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. Okay, but if I decide I want to play a Mixolydian scale, well, the Mixolydian scale, instead of having a C Mixolydian scale, instead of having a B natural, has a B flat. So we would call that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, flat 7, 1, or root. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, flat 7, root. So if we were to do a minor scale, you're going to have a lot of changes. You're going to have 1, 2, flat 3, 4, 5, flat 6, flat 7, root, as compared to the major scale. So if you see 1, 2, flat 3, 4, 5, flat 6, flat 7, 1, those flats are in comparison to the major scale. When I do I did this a while back, did my modes lesson. We analyzed scales after we made scales, and we go, what did we do to the scale? Like, what's another way we could come at it? Because you could kind of come at, perfect example is the Mixolydian scale, okay? So C major scales, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, right? Or 7, 1. 7, back to the 1, C note, okay? So if you know that, you're there. If you want to make that into a Mixolydian scale, all you have to remember is to make a Mixolydian scale, you flat the 7th of a major scale. So you just go to the 7th. Instead of playing B natural, you play B flat. So you can remember that. I think that's kind of how Sam does it, right? I think Sam thinks that way, and I think that way too. The other way you could arrive at it is if you know the formula. So the formula for a major scale is whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. Say that with me. Whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. Well, what that means is whole step, half step, whole step, whole step, whole step, half step. 7 intervals for a scale. Whole step, half step, whole step, whole step, whole step, half step. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. But the formula for a Mixolydian scale is whole, whole, half, whole, whole, half, whole. So it'd be whole, whole, half, whole, whole, half, whole. So those are two ways to arrive at in this case, the Mixolydian scale. You can either use the formula, the whole, whole, half thing, or you can know what note changes from the major scale. And when you change, that's easier because in this scenario, that's easier because you only change one note. Now, if I said, okay, what about a C Locrian scale? Well, a C Locrian scale is it? No worries, Steve. Thanks for the warning. Okay, that one, okay, the difference between this and a C major scale is 1, flat 2, flat 3, flat 4, flat 5, flat 6, flat 7, and then 1. You literally are flatting everything but the 1. You will never flat the 1 or you're changing the key. Okay? Or you could remember the formula is half step, whole step, whole step, half step, whole step, whole step, whole step. And there's a Locrian scale inside every key. And no matter what key you're in, if you start the scale on the seventh note, you're creating a Locrian sound. But yeah, that's what Sam's right now, right there. Did he do Locrian? Oh, you saved Locrian for me, Steve. Oh, no, there it is. Locrian down there. I mean, Sam. All right. Yeah, amazing. Way back in March. Thanks, Bruce. March of 2000, when I thought I was never going to eat again. Yeah, but 2021 and 22, I didn't think I was going to eat in a restaurant again. Jeez. Actually, I drove out to Ventura County to go out to eat. All right. So, yeah, so that kind of explains it. Now, here's the little thing, though. When we're talking about a pentatonic scale, so we're talking about like an A minor pentatonic, like we're doing here. We're going to compare that to the A major scale. And what we're talking about then is we're going root, or the 1, flat 3, 4, 5, flat 7. It's only 5 notes, so we only are counting for 5 notes. So we have 1, flat 3, 4, 5. So 1, flat 3, 4, 5, and flat 7. Those are our 5 notes because it's a pentatonic scale. Yeah, exactly. You can think major scale and go 5 to 5 to arrive at the Mixolydian scale. I don't usually do that. I usually think Mixolydian scale. It's actually easier for me just to go, oh yeah, Mixolydian scale. But the Mixolydian scale is found naturally inside the major scale if you start from the 5th note of the major scale and go to the next 5th note. So for example, in the key of C, if I start on G, but I think to think that way, you have to think of 2 scales. You have to think of the C scale, and then you have to think of the C scale starting on the 5th. Whereas if I just think G Mixolydian scale, I'm right there. And I'm not often thinking scales anyway, because right there, I did a bunch of stuff. I did chromatic, I did pentatonic, and I did Mixolydian. Just not even thinking. There's a lot of chromatic right there. Kind of a blues scale with a 3rd, kind of bringing it into the Mixolydian chromatic blues. And that's kind of another trick. I'm not really thinking of it as a trick. I just like the sound of it. But what I did was I'm going 5, flat 5, 4, flat 3, 3, root, flat 5, I'm sorry, sharp 5, flat 5, 5, and into the root. I'm just surrounding the 5 by half steps. So here's the D, that's the 5th in the key of G. I'm going D sharp, D flat, T. It's kind of a gypsy jazz thing. You can do it with every note. Probably because Django only had 2 fingers. Kind of the godfather of gypsy jazz. He would probably do it this way. Right? And he could do it. He could do it super fast. Again, that's a way of seeing a chord or playing over a chord that's based on someone else's inadequacies. Django only had 2 fingers, and yet he was, at the time, was the best guitar player in the world. Your dad is 93. That's crazy. Oh, your dad's in a hospital. Let's see. Oh, he was in the hospital for COVID. Yeah, yeah. or got COVID in the hospital. Did they give it to him like they did my sister? I don't know if any of you remember when my sister Lee was hanging out with us because she was in the hospital, and she went in Boston. You know, like you think that Boston, they got the smartest doctors, right? All those universities and stuff. She goes to the hospital. She got pneumonia. They put her in the COVID ward. She had pneumonia. She didn't have COVID. They put her in the COVID ward. She got better. She went home. The next day she got COVID. So she was back in the hospital. And there was a number. She sent it to me. I asked her the other day because my niece is a nurse, and I was trying to remember the thing that Lee had. Let's see. Okay, so her C-reactive protein normal is 15 for a woman her age. She was when she had COVID in the hospital. So normal for C-reactive protein is 15. Her number was 550. The doctors, I think, didn't know. Like, I don't know what any of that means, C-reactive protein, but. And Sam, you're just so blessed to have your dad. You know what's funny is I think my dad. No, my dad, if he was still alive, he died in 2011, literally 3 days after I turned 50. My dad would be 92 this year. Yeah, that's crazy. I hope if live to be that old, I'm independent, but boy, it's really rare. My mother-in-law is independent. She's 87. So that bodes well for my wife. Both of my parents, my mom died at 84, my dad died at 79, but both of them had been smokers and drinkers and stuff, so. Oh, it's an inflammation. Thank you, Basil. You're so smart. Yeah, I've had it once, and it was very mild. I took ivermectin, so I had zero symptoms. My wife didn't take it, and she wanted me to take it because we only had a pack, and she was sick for 2 weeks, but not sick enough to not work, do stuff. She was still doing the normal, getting up and doing laundry and working in the garden and all that kind of stuff. Nothing changed. That's crazy then. She had a lot of inflammation. That's so amazing, Sam. That's such a blessing. It could be good. Cold weather does it too, you know. Cold weather kind of, I think, like, hibernates you. So, yeah, and I did survive the hurricane. I don't know if Brad, you're still on. Did you feel the quake? Beth was standing at the kitchen. She was doing dishes. I'm watching TV. She's doing dishes. Yeah, great husband, right? No, I'd already worked that day. I've been working for a few hours, and like from 7 to 1, and so I just got home from work and it happened. So from church. Ooh, yeah. I mean, I hope. Yeah, I'm hoping I don't ever get arthritis. I mean, I feel a little tightness in my middle fingers on both hands, but I keep forcing them, and they feel good. I still wake up every morning and feel like did I play football yesterday? It's like that's what it feels like. I'm like, did I play tackle football, full tackle, no pads football like we did when we were kids? Oh, Basil, I'm from Indiana originally. Yeah, that's crazy to have an earthquake in Indiana. I remember when that happened because it was kind of a big deal. Yeah, I mean, I was in a Northridge quake. I wasn't here for the big quake. There was a big quake. What was that? Shoot. I mean, the first quake I ever felt was the one in Kalinga, and I was sitting in my car. My roommate, was legally blind, and I would take him to the grocery store, and I was sitting in the parking lot waiting for him to come back from the grocery. And I thought he was messing with me. I thought he was pushing on my bumper. And this was in Pasadena and Kalinga. It was a pretty big quake. I mean, walls fell over. I think maybe one or two people were killed or something. It's a small town. But I felt it. It was the first one. It was the first time I went. And I didn't know. It was like later I either saw it on the news or read about it in the paper, and I went, oh, that must have been what I felt, because I looked over my shoulder. There was no one behind me. I even got out of my car and looked to make sure that someone wasn't down low messing with my bumper or something. So, oh, John, that's awesome. Yeah, there are fault lines everywhere, pretty much. I mean, it's all tectonic plates and all that stuff. They're moving, and we just have a lot of mountains here, so it's just going to be more of them. I mean, the way the mountains were made probably were, things shoving together. So there could be a mountain under me this time tomorrow. So if that happens, I won't be here next Monday. Oh, Tina's now is that Tina, or is that still you, Brad? Oh, you felt it? Yeah, it was a long one, but it was just like a soft kind of like rolling thing, and I went, oh, okay. Usually we have earthquakes, and I'm laying in bed or something, and it's like there's a certain point where the shaking gets big enough where you get out of bed. It's like, okay, I better go stand in a doorway. But invariably you get out of bed and and it starts going down. And you're like, ah, dang it, I could have stayed in bed. Or you're sitting, if you're working or something, if you're driving, you're not going to feel it. If it's really bad and you're driving, you think you have a flat tire. My sister-in-law and her family, they were driving when the big quake hit San Francisco years ago, during the World Series. Remember that? Where it collapsed the 880, which was amazing because there were a lot of people that died, but it wasn't very many because everybody was already home from work, because it happened during rush hour. But everybody was home because it was the Oakland A's versus the San Francisco Giants in the World Series, so they were all home watching the game. It was unbelievable. I mean, if you could have timed an earthquake, you couldn't have timed it better for San Francisco. Had it been a normal day, there would have been 10,000 deaths maybe, because the 880, is usually packed, and they just would have been crushed. But that was crazy. I mean, it was bad enough as it was, but yeah, it's just weird when that, and then, yeah, Northridge was pretty big. Actually, in Pasadena, the bigger one was the Sierra Madre quake. It actually put crack. So the building that we lived in was like a two-story building and a two-story building attached, but it was like you go up some steps and two-story, because the back third of the building was raised so that they could have a parking garage underneath, right? So you walk in the building, and then you go up half a flight of steps, and you get to the next two level, so you have two stories, and then two stories a little bit higher up, and the back two stories kind of tilted, sank a little bit, and in between where those walls attached, like there were a couple apartments where you could see outdoors and like separated, and you're like, oh my gosh, you can see outdoors. And we had to patch both sides. It was like, well, it didn't get Pasadena they were too busy going around. It was funny because my church at the time, at Lake Avenue Church in Pasadena, they had just built a brand new sanctuary. And at the time, I remember going there when they were building it at one point, and they were flying in these giant I-beams. I think it took two military helicopters to fly in these giant I-beams that were the length of this 4,500 seat sanctuary, and they were two of them at like this in the ceiling. And they were a solid piece of milled steel. There was not a single weld in that entire piece. And at the time, and we had a lot of Caltech and JPL scientists that went to the church. At the time, it was the longest piece of single milled I-beam ever created, and they had two of them. And basically, the scientist was telling me, this guy from Caltech was like, "Yeah, this building will not go down in an earthquake, right?" so that's like, okay, and they build this church around it, and they got it all done, and they got these two giant I-beams. And then the Sierra Madre quake happens, and those I-beams didn't budge, not one bit. No, those things were as solid as a rock. but all the plaster around them just came falling down because it moved. So the thing that didn't move was there, and everything else that was touching it moved and just separated, like the plaster came tumbling down. No one was there. It happened during the week, but so like for 6 months, and maybe that was the Whittier quake. I can't remember which one was first, but for 6 months they had all these scaffolds set up, and because it was really, really high ceiling. Because it's a 2-story, it was like a balcony. I'm sure if you go to lakeavenue.org, you can see pictures of it. They set up all the scaffolding all the way to the ceiling, and they patched it all, right? They took down the scaffolding. It took them 6 months to do this or whatever. And then, like, within 2 weeks, we had another earthquake, and it all came down again. And so what they did was, they just put these giant tarps that they attached, to catch it if it fell. And it just looks like diapers in the ceiling. I'm going to have to look it up right now because I'm curious if I haven't been there in years. LakeAv.org. They may not even have pictures of the ceiling. It's a big room. Let's see. Bound. Yeah, they surely have social media where, yeah, here's Twitter, probably Instagram. You might be able to see some pictures of the sanctuary. I don't know. Yeah, it's mostly just slides, like slide cards. So yeah, it was interesting though, like, yeah, it didn't come down like they said it wasn't going to. Oh, you were in Berkeley. After the quake, there was a lot of fires. Yeah, I remember watching the fires in the north in '94, the Rodney King riots, and it was basically they broke into all the gun shops and then burned them down. So it was just gun shop fires everywhere. I'm like, oh my gosh. Yeah, I mean, at some point we could have a really big one that could destroy everything. This house is from 1956 or 54, and we're just a mile away from Northridge, and it now I've been under the house and it's bolted. It probably wasn't bolted in '94, but it's been bolted since. Oops, sorry, I went to the wrong. There we go. It's been bolted since. Yeah, the Lord was speaking, exactly. Yeah, God said, don't make a giant church. No, it's all right. It's fine. My church just built a new sanctuary, 3,500 seats. And it was about, when did we move into that? 2017? See if I can show you. I can post a picture of that. I'm there every weekend. All right. In fact, I found this picture of Alex I really like. Where is it? Yeah, this one. I don't know how much you could see of the sanctuary, but let's see. is it? Oh, it's up here. So I'll pick one that's picture of Alex. Check this out. This is kind of cool. Whoa, got to make it a lot smaller. No, not this. How do I make the picture smaller? Wow. Okay, I'm gonna have to grab here and just keep moving it and grabbing it and moving it. Oh, and it's sideways. Okay, why is it sideways? That's weird. Okay, let me pick a different picture. There's Alex looking all badass. Okay, let's remove, yes. All right, so what I'm gonna do is, so why did this come out that way? That's weird. All right, let's see if I have a better picture here. But we use in-ear monitors, so it doesn't, so, you know, it doesn't sound boomy or anything, which is nice. Still having a hard time finding pictures of the sanctuary. Okay, let's see. I'm gonna duplicate this and make it really small. Oops. Duplicate and then adjust the size. Tools, adjust size. Yeah, so let me go like to 800 or something to see if that works. All right. Now drag it here. Yeah, so that's pretty good. Yeah, it's perfect. So you can see that's Alex there standing next to his pedal board. This is recent because that's a new pedal board. You can see my chart here. So it seats 3,500, but we usually have, it's usually pretty full and we have overflow. I think we have one room that seats another 800 or something like that. It's pretty ding dang full. It was a little lean yesterday, especially at the 11 o'clock service, but then it filled up. I was like, people were just kind of taking their time getting to church yesterday, but they still came. I was thinking they wouldn't because of the hurricane, but by 11 o'clock yesterday, everybody was kind of going, "What the heck? This is a big giant nothing burger." Let me see. I'm gonna create. Oops. Also, I'm intermittent fasting right now, which is what is this? Is this? Yeah. Yeah, which is I'm not there yet, but right around 11 is when I start getting. Whoo, I could eat, you know, because I haven't eaten since last night, and like I think I ate at 8 last night. 8. No, probably 7:30. So I can eat at 1:30. I've got to go 18 hours. So, yeah, it's a great. I mean, it's what it is this church really does a lot for the community. Let's see. Let me see if I have anything. I like this picture here. Check this out. This is not the church, but it's a view from the garage. We built a two-story garage thing on the property. S&S Properties, who own all the land out here, they gave us the land for our sanctuary for $1. It's pretty amazing. Or something like that. Brad, you might know better. Let's see. I'm gonna make this smaller. I took this picture when it was snowing. Let's see, adjust size. Okay. Oh yeah, definitely gotta lower this. Okay. All right. So this is how close the snow got to us. You see, this is looking across the street from church to the north. So yeah, yeah, that was, it was. I've never seen snow on those hills before. I've been working at that church for 20 years, and that was the first time I ever saw it. Let me see if I can get this picture here. I like this picture. Let me see if I can duplicate it. Yeah, it was a good deal, and I think one of the things we were agreeing to do a child care thing, which they have a child care thing at Shepherd, a big department. Um, but they also do amazing things. Every Fourth of July, they put on a fireworks display that they pay for 100%, and 50,000 people show up, and it's really the best display in the valley. In half of Los Angeles, it's really the best display. They really pride themselves on making a really good display. So let me see. Let me make this. And it's state of the art. The churches, so all the lighting and everything is real cool. So this is a picture I took of Alex because the lighting was really cool. There he is with his vintage 1959 Jazzmaster. But you can see the sanctuary, from our perspective, and the concrete floor there. But that's kind of a cool, vibe, almost like an album cover, huh? Yeah. So. Um, but yeah, you didn't have any? Did you? You're up on a hill, Brad, so you probably didn't have any. Like the water went down. I have a low point in my yard that always gets saturated, and the water starts going into the garage. But I intentionally have nothing over there in that part of the garage that, like, I don't have boxes sitting there or anything wood touching. Everything's elevated just in case. And I have seal on my garage door, so if it's shut, it seals it pretty good. I don't know if it's open now. I should open it to let it dry out, though. Because it's going to get sunny here in a minute. We're going to get all that rain's going to dry up. Although, Brad, I have to tell you, I love turning off my sprinklers because I'm like, yes, saving money. I'm such a cheap SOB. Let's see. Yeah, let's see. This picture makes me sad. Another picture of the church. Oh, this is a duplicate, right? It's the same one. Yeah. But Ronnie Minogue was a drummer for years at Shepherd, and he passed away. He died of cancer, and it just breaks my heart because he was such a great drummer. In fact, this was the last time the cancer came back, and this was the last time he played anywhere. And always had the sweetest heart. Left behind two little babies. But that's Ronnie there I'm sitting next to. And that's Tim, our executive pastor, making a peace sign behind us. Everybody's doing goofy pictures there behind us. But yeah, so that was Ronnie's last weekend. I remember he was playing and he was doing fine. We have 3 services. He's doing fine. And then I think in the 3rd service, I look over at him and he looks like he's in pain. And he's playing really hard. Like he's hit really almost angry. He's like, he knows it's back. He knows it's back. And it was in his back. He had brain stuff. And, it was amazing that he was able to get back to playing. And Ronnie's wife, Anna, they had gotten married. They were an older couple, but they, not older, but they were like in their 40s when they got married. And then she had 2 babies. And I think their kids were, 3 and 5, 4 and 2 when he died. Really, really rough. That's the worst. And so many great stories at the funeral and everything. Ugh, it's just like breaks your heart. But yeah, that's that was. Is this the same day? Yeah. So So anyway, cancer is, both of my parents, well, my dad died of it. Oh, that's good, Brad. All right. So we're going to keep going on this pentatonic stuff because it's really literally endless. And, you know, guitar players want to learn how to solo and things like that. And playing pentatonic shapes are, you know, kind of a great starting point. Like I said, you can, you know, from this minor pentatonic, but even that minor pentatonic, you go, okay, I know, oh, that's minor. Okay, I can make it a blues scale. I can make it a diatonic scale. I can make it B.B. King. I can make it an E minor. You know, you can go. What was that? I changed the seventh, right? Just change one note and you know, or change one fret position and create a whole new, like, amazing, complex harmonic structure, melodic structure over the chords and stuff. So, yeah, the pentatonic shapes are a great place to start. Like I said, when I saw Pat Metheny play, I was amazed at how many pentatonics he used. I mean, one of the things that he would do, let me create this. See, I said I was going to stop, and I can't, can I? I just can't. I can't stop. All right, let me do a drum beat here. Let's see. All right, let me just create a quick little groove here. All right, now I'm going to do like a. That kick is pretty cool. Oh, because I got the. Yeah, let me quantize that. All right, and the little hi-hat. I don't know if you'll hear this. Okay. All right. Nope. Quantize. Save. All right. Now bass line. Let's see. All right. Quantize that. Now I'm going to get boomy. I got to turn it down now. Okay, piano wise. Okay, so it's a. Okay, so what I'm playing there. Oops. Okay, what I'm playing there is a B minor 7 chord to a B flat major 7 chord. On the bass. Now I'm going to create a new track here. Is that too boomy? Is it distorting? Yeah. I'll turn the bass down some more. Sound. And so Pat was doing a lot of that, whereas like over the B minor, yeah, okay, that makes sense. He's playing B minor pentatonic. Maybe hit that minor ninth. then he would go down and play A minor pentatonic over the B flat. Just and it creates these really, in fact, I could put a ninth in that piano chord. Let me do that. Let me add a ninth to it. I can add a ninth to this. So I can take this A minor pentatonic, and I'm playing over a B flat chord, so I can add the B flat to acknowledge that I'm playing over a B flat chord. So let me even just play over that one chord. It sounds so freaking good, and Pat's so good at finding those. Stank face. But then I have two chord progression. Go to essentially playing B minor pentatonic, A minor pentatonic. I could do F sharp minor pentatonic and A minor. But again, it helps to throw that B flat in there every now and then just to sound like you know what you're doing. And now I'm going to diatonic scales too, but it's just cool how you can take a ultimately very easy to attain skill and make it work in so many different scenarios. And so it's worth working on those little chunks of it to get some speed up so that you can play fast when you want to in certain scenarios. So we're talking about cancer now. See, I totally bummed you all out. Sorry, and I'm gonna leave because I got some stuff I gotta get done. But my plan is to be here next Monday. I have something the night before that's, if it goes really late, I'm not gonna set my alarm Monday. And so if I sleep in, I sleep in, and if I sleep to quarter to nine, I'm not coming in here and starting the live stream at 9 o'clock. I have to get my coffee first. Okay, so I will get my coffee and then be here as soon as I can. Okay, so but it may be fine. It may be right at 9. Well, it's never right at 9. I'm always late, but hopefully the plan is to be here next Monday at some point. But the plan is 9 o'clock in the morning. So anyway, thanks, Brad. Good to see you. Or good for you to see me. Sam, awesome. Let's see. Wow. Yeah, your dad's gone through a lot. Yeah, I actually got tested for male breast cancer because I had fatty lipoma here, and they thought maybe it was a tumor, so I had to get a mammogram. It's not a lot to put in there, so it was uncomfortable. I have some empathy now. Okay. Anyway, everybody have a great week. I will see you later, and God bless you. Have fun. Take that jam track. Okay, I posted it. Did I post it? Is it still? Is that it? I think that's it. Take that jam track. Practice pentatonic number 1 for a week. Practice pentatonic or a day. Just only play pentatonic number 2 for a day. Only do number 3 for a day. Only do number 4 for a day, or something like that. In fact, you might if you got 7 days in a week. Okay, here's your challenge. Today you can do pentatonic number 1. Tomorrow do pentatonic number 2. The next day do the next 2 days do pentatonic number 3, because it's a nasty pentatonic scale. So just spend 2 days jamming over that thing, maybe one time through the 10 minutes, jam through it with pentatonic number 2 or 3. Okay. Then do a day of number 4, which isn't bad, and number 5 is another one that's kind of like, I hate this pentatonic scale, but there's a lot of really cool licks in there, cool ideas, cool riffs, and everything. So try pentatonic number 5, which is the bottom one. In this scenario, you can play it up an octave if you want. In the diagram here, over here. Wait, is it? Where is it? Over there. It's a diagram over there. And then maybe play 2 days on that. So there's 7 days. Okay, 1 day on 1, 1 day on 2, 2 days on 3. Oh, I'm buffering. 1 day on 4, and then 2 days on 5. Take the 2 weirdest ones, the 2 most awkward to play ones, and spend 2 days on those. And then you're kind of lifting them all up. It's right. A rising tide lifts all boats. You want to lift all the boats up. You don't want to just work number 1 and then have no ideas what to do as you go up and down the neck. Does that make sense? All right. That's your assignment. We're going to keep working on this. I'll talk to you soon. And use the jam track. Just pull it up and play along with it. I get it's monetized, so I make a little bit of money every time it spins. Okay. God bless you all. Thank you so much. Bye.